this video, we're going to be looking at the probability of the complement of an event. So first, just what are complements? First thing we need to know is that when we are looking at probabilities of a sample space, the sum of the probabilities of all outcomes in a sample space is equal to 1. So if I were looking at up here, and if I were to do the probabilities of all of them, they would all add up to equal to 1. And so we can use that to find the complement of event A. And the complement of event A, which we denote as A with a bar over top, or A bar, is the set of all outcomes that are not in A. So, for example, if I were looking at the sample space of rolling a die 1 through 6, let's say that the event A was rolling an even number, a complement would then be rolling an odd number. It's the exact opposite. It's all of the events that are not in event A. Or for another example, let's say we're looking at for numbers 1 through 30, that event A is numbers that are greater than 5. The complement of that would be all numbers less than or equal to 5. So those are some examples of complements. Here we're going to be looking at finding the probability of the complement event. And we have this equation that says that the probability of the complement of event A is equal to 1 minus the probability of A. So let's go through some examples of finding those. So number 1, I have the probability of A is equal to 0.45. I want to find the probability of A bar. So probability of A bar is going to equal to 1 minus the probability of A. So I get 1 minus 0.45, which is equal to 0.55. Okay, next one, I have probability of A is equal to 1/4. So this time I have it in fraction form. So I have the probability of A bar is then equal to 1 minus 1/4, which is equal to 3/4. Next one, I have probability of A is equal to 1. So that means the probability of A bar is equal to 1 minus the probability of A, which equals to 1 minus 1. So this time, the probability of A bar is just equal to 0. Okay, so number 4, this is where using complements can make your life a little bit easier. And so we have that when 2 6-sided dice are rolled, there are 36 possible outcomes. Find the probability of each event. So I'm going to go ahead and first just draw out all of the 36 possible outcomes. So I could have that I have 2 1s, 1 2, 1 3, and 4. And so on. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and draw out the rest of those outcomes. Okay, so these are all the possible outcomes. You can roll 2 1s, 1 2, and so on. So you get these 36 possible outcomes. And now I want to find the probability of, first, that the sum is not 6. And so here is where I can see that complements will be a little bit easier. So first, if I'm looking at the sum is not 6, I see looking at all these options, that's going to be a lot to try and sift through. So I can then instead say that the probability of the sum is not 6 is equal to 1 minus the complement of that event. So 1 minus the probability that the sum is 6. And now that's a little bit easier to try and find through all of these. So I'm looking for all of the options where the two numbers add to 6. So I see I have 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. 3 plus 3, 4 plus 2, and 5 plus 1. So I see there's 5 cases where the sums add up to equal to 6. So it's going to be 5, which is my favorable outcomes, over my total, which is 36. And so when I subtract those, I get 31 over 36, which is approximately 0.861. Okay, let's look at another one. So this one is, I want to find the probability the sum is less than or equal to 9. So probability sum is less than or equal to 9. Again, this could be a lot, so I could instead say that I want to look at 1 minus the complement of that. So I have 1 minus the probability that the sum is greater than 9. Because that is the exact opposite if I'm negating that. Because sum is less than or equal to 9, that includes 9. So I want to do greater and not include that 9. So I'm going to look at and see which of these sums are greater than 9. I see 6 plus 6 is greater. 6 plus 5, 6 plus 4, 6 plus 3 is equal to 9, so I don't include that. I see 5 plus 6 is greater than 9, 5 plus 5, and 4 plus 6 is greater than 9. And those are all of my options, so I see that that is 6 favorable outcomes, so I have 6 over 36. And so when I subtract those, I get 30 over 36, which when you divide means that the probability here is approximately 0.833.